Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and depending on where you are watching us from.
My name is Dan Bernard. I own a building firm, construction firm located in the city of Port Harcourt. Today I come your way again with a very simple but a very important topic that has to do with building construction. It is the easiest way to calculate the number of blocks needed for a building project. Many times you have been confronted with the challenge of estimating the number of blocks as an architect or as an engineer that will be sufficient for the building project that you have. But many times you have given a blind quote, maybe because of experience you have put in the craft. But there is just a simple way to do this so that you can give an intelligent guess. That's why I bring your way in a series, the topic, the easiest way to calculate the number of blocks for a building project. We have two methods. We are going to discuss the first method. If I have time, we go to the second method. Add up all the walls dimension on the working drawing to obtain a linear measurement in meters. You have your working drawing, you add up all the relevant dimensions of the building and obtain a figure in meter. Imagine in your mind's eye that the walls of the building are standing in a straight line, and then you have a dimension for it. Let's assume at the end of the summation we had 150 blocks. Before that, I want you to look at the illustration on your screen. Let's assume this is your parlor, this is your room. Let's say just two rooms. This is an outline of your building, for instance. So what you do, you add up all the relevant dimension, add up the walls dimension in a straight line like I've established, and you have the total length of the building. Let's take, for example, 150 meters as the length of the summation of the dimension in the working drawing. Let's assume 150. The next step is to divide the 150 meters by 0.45. 0.45 is the dimension of the block. The length of the block, whether it be 6 inches, whether it be 5 inches, whether it be 9 inches, they have the same length. So if you divide, you add 1, and when you add 1, you have 333 pieces of block in a straight line that will form the straight line in that wall. Another thing that you need to find out is the height of the building. And as customary, we make use of 3 meters, but we can work it out practically. And I also like to calculate for the foundation block separately and calculate for the building block separately. How do we go about it? For instance, you have the height of your building like this. You have the DPC, you have the window seating, you have the window itself, and you have the final block on the building. So from here to here, you have, let's say in the DPC, you have 5 coaches, right? 5 coaches. Then from DPC to window seating, you have 4 coaches. Many people use 4 coaches or 3 coaches as the case may be. In the window itself, you have 5 coaches. Then above the lintel, you have 3 coaches, right? You have 3 coaches. So if you add up everything, you know the number of coaches you have in the building. And this is not very difficult to do. Go to the section area of your architectural drawing. You will see the label in there. If it is 3 meters, you work it out by yourself in this way. So let's, for a moment, ignore the foundation blocks, because what I discussed with you now still applies to it. Let's take from the DPC to the roofing level. So how many coaches we have? 1, 2, that is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Now, if you have identical building on top, that's 1 story. You now have 24. If you have identical building on top, you have, the second floor, you have 36 in that order. So let's concentrate on the first one. 4 plus 5, 9 plus 3, we have 12, right? So what you need to do, we have obtained 333 blocks, which represents the number of blocks in a straight line, 1 coach. Now, how many coaches are in the building? We have 12. So what do you need to do? You multiply 12 by 334 blocks approximately, then you know what you have. So if you are doing this for the first floor, which is the 1-story building, you multiply by 2, that is by 24. If you are doing for another one on top, identical building, you do what? You multiply by 3, which is 36. So that is the easiest way to calculate for the number of blocks in a project. So you multiply 334 by 12, it gives you 4,800 blocks. You multiply by 24, it gives you 8,016 blocks. You multiply by 36, you have 11,000 blocks. That is how it goes. That is if you are doing for identical building on top. So the first thing that you did was to obtain a linear measurement and calculate for the blocks that we fit into that length. So we found 150 as the total length, divided the 150 by 0.45, and then added one. We have 334 blocks approximately. Then what you need to do is calculate the number of coaches in the building and multiply the first line of coaches you have, which is 334, by 12 or by 24, as I've explained to you. This brings us to the end of the first method, and this is how you have the number of blocks. Very easy. It's just that we took time to establish certain coordinates for you to be able to understand what we are saying. Now we move on to the second method. The second method is almost similar. It might be easier. So whichever one is your choice, you can choose. This is the second method. The first thing you have to do is to determine the area of the building. As we all know, the area of building is length times height. How do we get the length? You add up all the relevant dimensions on the working drawing to obtain the length of the building. Having done that, you go to the section area. In every architectural drawing, you have a section area in the architectural drawing. Go there, look out for what is written as the height of the building. As customary, we assume, as regular, that the height of a building is 3.03 meters as height. So it will give us the parameters that we need to calculate for the area of the building. Having done that, you go to step number 2. Determine the area of the concrete block. That is the block, whether it be 9 inches, 6 inches, or 5 inches. Like I told you, the area, they remain the same. But the only difference is just in the thickness. So determine the area of the concrete block, which is, again, length times width. Number 3, divide the area of the building that you just obtained with the area of the block. And that gives you the area, that gives you the number of blocks you need for the project. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, determine the area of the building, length times width. Let's assume that after the summation of all the relevant dimensions in our working drawings, we were able to get 150 as a length of the building. Then how do we get the height? Remember I told you, head over to the section area of the architectural drawing to get the height of the building. But in case it is not there, assume the height of the building to be 3 meters. And that's exactly what you do. So how do we get the area? Multiply the length, which is 150 by 3. We have 450 square meter. Now, what is the area of the block? Remember the dimension of the block is 0.45, which is the length. The height is 0.229. I know many people will protest. Why am I using 0.229? In my little research, I found out that 9 inches exactly is not 225, it is 229. Don't take my words for it, you can research about it. So in all of my drawings, I have always used 229 as the height of my block. So what I have is 0.10305 square meter as the area of the block. Then we divide the area of the building as we have established, 450 by 0.145. When you do that, you have 4,336 blocks. So the former one we had 4,008 blocks. In this one we have 436. So this is a little bit, bigger in number than what we had before. So I would think that this can get you covered. The second method. If you are not at home with the first one, you can use the second method. Thank you very much for listening. Please remember to share and like so that other people will have the same information you now have. And also you subscribe so that when we put up a new video, you will have a notification of that video and take advantage of an early bird. Thank you very much and God bless you. My name remains Daniel Bernard. Bye.